Hello guys, my name is Vijay. I am working as Senior Solution Consultant in Epicero. In this session, let us discuss about CI/CD and let's see how can we do CI/CD in with Jenkins. So this is the article that I have written. So we'll go through this and we'll also go through how to install Jenkins in our machine. Before that, right, I request you to go ahead on all these videos so that it will be a continuation. This video is a continuation for these videos basically. Okay, now yeah, so what is CI/CD? um, let's just first discuss about CI. So CI means continuous integration. It's a development practice where set of developers do the changes to their source code, and they'll push their changes to source code repositories regularly. So source code repository means for example Git, okay, GitHub. I mean, if you see in this picture, right, this guy is a developer and he'll push the changes to Git every day, once in a day, right? Once he's done with the changes, and what happens once you push your changes to feature branch, right? I mean, then you have to create a pull request to dev branch. So once you create a pull request to dev, right, so the code will be merged into the dev branch, and if you have a automation process, right, so it will do the that automation process will compile the code, test the code, it will do the static code analysis. If you heard about Sonar Cube, right, so that is used for static code analysis, and it will do the package. And if there is any error, right, what it will do, it will report to the developer. Okay, so this is the CI process. Now benefits of CI, you can have a look at this, like fast feedback to the developers, automate the build, improves code quality and minimizes the defects. Okay, now in this picture you could see CI and CD both. So development, once you are done with that, you will do code commit, and once that is done, right, you'll deploy to different environments like dev, QA, and finally it will reach to the production. So that is, it's an automated process. So it yeah, so it's an automated process till you deploy to the production. So what is CD? So we always hear something like continuous delivery and continuous deployment, right? So you can have a look at the definition of continuous delivery here. Okay, I'll discuss about what is the difference between continuous delivery and continuous deployment. If you could see in this picture, right, so continuous delivery is nothing but it will have a manual approval before you go ahead with the production deployment. So continuous deployment is something you will not have this particular automatic, I mean manual approval. Continuous deployment is everything is automated, so automatic deploy you could see here, right? So that is the only difference between continuous delivery and continuous deployment. Now if you see what is Jenkins, so Jenkins is it's a very famous automation tool for CI/CD. Okay, it's an open source and written in Java. Jenkins is a collection of plugins, right? When you install Jenkins, you will have to install a lot of plugins basically to work with the CI/CD. So if you talk about other popular CI/CD tools, right, you could see the list here: Azure DevOps and Circle CI and GitHub Actions, right, Bamboo as well. So this is the summary. Now let us see how to install Jenkins within your machine. The prerequisites are like you have to have JDK 11 or 17. So in order to go ahead with Jenkins installation, you need to have the JDK 11 or 17 installed in your machine. Okay, so I have I'll publish this article so you can have a look at this, and also what I will do, I'll share the links of these two articles in the description of this video. Okay, so because my machine is Windows, right, I have downloaded the Windows software from this link, and yeah, you have to basically install this particular Windows installer. I mean, while you install, right, you'll get a port to configure. So you can have any kind of port, but when you test the port, you should get a green tick. By default it is 8080. So yeah, so and once this is done, right, you can go ahead by clicking on next, and finally you can install it. So once it is installed, right, okay, so how to access your Jenkins locally? So yeah, so you have to access by typing localhost colon the port number you have configured here. Okay, within, you can access on this particular address within your browser. Okay, now you have to unlock the Jenkins. So if you see, there is a path here, right? So if I go to that path, it is like, it will be there in the program data. Go to C drive, and you could see here in program data. Let's go back to the path Jenkins. So let me type J here, Jenkins, and dot Jenkins, and scripts. Oh, sorry, it is secrets. Now here you will find the initial admin password. So this is what you have to enter. Once you enter that, right, you have to click on continue. So that way you have highlighted the path and the file for you. So once that is done, this is the phase that you will get. You can click on this or this, but if your internet is good and if you have enough patience, if you have time, right, you can go with this. If not, you can go with this, but for this you need to know what are all the plugins that you need to install, like this, for example, GitHub folders plugin, Git plugin, GitHub integration plugin, Maven integration plugin, Mailer, okay, pipeline plugin, build pipeline plugin, all these. So you have to select this. Okay, select plugins to install. You can look for these, and you can install the plugins whatever are required for CI/CD. So if you see in this pic, right, let me do. So if you see in this pic, these are the plugins that I have installed. So what happens is that few plugins you might, they will fail at the time of installations. So what you can do, you can click on retry, or you can click on continue. Okay, and you can configure the username password so that you will be using what do you say, to log into your Jenkins. Okay, so this is the URL, http://localhost:8080. that is where you can access the Jenkins that is installed within your machine. Okay, so finally you'll get Jenkins is ready, and whatever the username and password that you have configured here, that is what you have to enter before logging in. So you will get a screen like this. Okay, so you have to enter the username and password. Okay, yeah, now as I told you, whatever the mandatory plugins that are required for CI/CD, if they are failing at this phase particularly, you can install them once again by going to the manage plugins. So you'll find them something like manage Jenkins here, manage Jenkins. So click on that, and I'll show that to you, no worries. So once you go to that particular option, right, it will show you the updates available, installed, and advanced. So go to available and search for the mandatory plugins that are required for CI/CD process to be to go smoothly. Okay, so you have to click on install without restart. So what happens is that it will install all the plugins that you have chosen here, right, in this way, and you can click on restart Jenkins when installation is complete and no jobs are running. Okay, you can check this, and it will restart, and it will give you this home screen, and you can click on sign in. Okay, so this is how you can install Jenkins in your machine. So for plugins, right, you can look at this. So most probably you'll get all the plugins. If you don't find these plugins also, few of these plugins also, it's fine. Okay. Yeah. Now, so let me log into Jenkins. So I have configured my username as this, and password I have configured. So click on sign in. So once you log into your Jenkins, right? So this is how it looks like. Now, yeah, before we go ahead, right? So please log into your anypont platform. One second. So click on, yeah, please log into your anypont platform. As I have created multiple platforms, right? You can create multiple platforms, or you can work with the platforms that you have by default in your trial account. Now, as I have shown you in the previous sessions, right? I have these three feature branches. These three branches in the public repository that I have created. So branches are like feature, dev, and test. Okay. And yeah, so I'll be using connected apps. Okay. Let me, yeah, so I'll be using connected app configuration. You can also use username and password here. Okay, so if I have to give a brief on the project, right, this is the very simple application that I have created. One second, I'm not sure why it is not opening. Yeah, so this is the payload that I'm setting, and here I'm printing the logger. That's it. Okay, now go to pom.xml. I have shown this in my previous sessions, so let me show you the pom.xml. Yeah, sorry. So here you could see this is the Cloud Hub deployment configuration that we have added under the Mule Maven plugin. So you need to have this plugin, and also I had the corresponding properties configured in the different property files. Okay, these are the common properties, and these are properties for dev, prod, and test environment. Okay. I'll be sharing this particular project, so no worries, you can have a look at that. Okay, so let me close everything, go to this one. Yeah, now what I will do, so this particular project, right, it is already checked in these branches, let's say in feature branch. Okay, so what I will do, I will use this particular connected app configuration. Like, this is the Maven command that is enriched based on client ID and client secret, or basically it is a connected app actually. So how to create connected app I have already shown in this video, so you can look at this particular video. Okay, so it will have client ID and client secret, and the grant type is client credentials. So now let me create a project within Jenkins. So go to Jenkins. So before that, right, as I told you, you have to click on manage Jenkins and click on manage plugins. So whatever the plugins that are missed initially, right, you can look for those plugins here, and it will load. And whatever the plugins you want to install, for example this, okay, so you can choose this, or you can choose multiple plugins and click on install without restart. So it will route to next page, like it will show the installation process as well. Okay, so click on dashboard. Now let me create a new project within Jenkins. So click on this new item, so enter an item name. So I'll simply create it as sample Mule API hyphen dev deployment, for example. So now we can create freestyle project or pipeline. So I'll show both of the things. First, let me go ahead with freestyle project. So click on freestyle project and click on OK. Now here we have to link to our Git. So choose this Git. Now here we have to copy the repository URL. So because this is my repository, if I click on this repository, I'll get the repository URL, copy and paste it here. Once this is done, right, you have to basically configure your credentials. Now let me click on add, click on Jenkins. So global credentials, yeah, my name is my username is this one, and the password I will type here. Okay, so you have to basically type your username and password. Click on add. Now okay, what I will do, I'll add a description so that we can differentiate. So username and password. So I'll add it as GitHub credentials. So click on add. Now if you add the description, right, you can see the description as well. So click on GitHub credentials. Okay, here you have to choose the branch. So let me go ahead with dev branch. Yeah, I think now what you can do in the build steps, right, click on execute Windows batch command. Now I already framed this command, so what I will do, I'll copy this command and I will paste it here. So let me click on save. So let me go back. So this is the one. Now now what we can do, we can click on build now. Okay, so it will actually pull the okay, so build now. Let's see what happens. So you could see a job is running here, and in order to see the details, right, you can click on console output. Now because I'm deploying to dev environment, right, so let me go to the dev environment of my trial account. See, it is getting created. Now what we can do in the meantime, so let's try to create one more freestyle project so that we can deploy to test environment. Okay, so sample, what I will do, I will simply change it to test deployment. So freestyle project, click on OK. Now again you can give the repository URL, copy, paste it here, and GitHub credentials, and here what I can choose, I can choose test branch, because here I have test branch as well. Okay, now at the last, right, build steps, execute Windows patch command, and what I will do, I'll copy this particular command. So click on save. Now if you click on dashboard, right, it will show forget about this. I'll talk about this little later. But see, we have created two freestyle projects. One is for test deployment, the other is for dev deployment. Okay, so this particular dev deployment, it is actually pulling the code from dev branch, and this is actually pulling the code from test branch. So what I will do, I'll click on this, click on build now. See, so we'll see this, but in the meantime you can see that in dev environment also, in dev environment it got deployed. Okay, so click on logs. Yeah, your application is started. So what I will do, let me go to Postman and let me send a request to this particular application which I deployed through CI/CD process. Yeah, click on dev and click on send. Dismiss. See, successfully deployed through Mule Maven plugin. It is what that is how it is in the set payload. So that is why you could see that, right? So don't get confused. This test is the path which I have configured here. Okay, so don't get confused. Now let me check if the app is deploying in test environment as well. Switch environment. See, it is getting deployed. Okay, so click on logs. In the meantime, we can also see how it is showing in the console output. So deploying artifact, creating application, starting application, checking if application has started. Okay, so finally it should succeed. So yeah, so this is how you can deploy to different environments by pulling the code from different branches. Okay, so we will be not seeing production deployment or deployment to prod environment. Yeah, so this application is deployed in test environment, and you could see, you'll see something like build success after a little while. So this is how you can create a project in freestyle, like new item, and this is like freestyle project. Click on dashboard. Now you see this is showing in green color, or it has given green tick mark. That means this particular job has run successfully. If you click on this, now what you can do, you can check on the history, yeah, build history, and you could see this. So by any chance, if it fails, right, it will show red color here. Okay, so click on this, you will see build success, or yeah, build success and success at last. Okay, so now what I will do, maybe intentionally I'll let me copy this command. What I will do, I'll simply change this client secret for just like this. Okay, so now go back here, test deployment. So in order to in order to change the configuration, right, you can click on configure, so you can do some changes again. So I have changed the client secret, I have removed OR0 something. Okay, so let me save it. Now what I will do, I will run it, I will build it once again, build now. So as soon as I clicked on build now, you could see there is one more entry created here, and this will definitely result into error. So we'll see that. Okay, so this is how you can create okay, I think it is already resulted into an error. So let's see how it is shown in the console output. Let me search for error. see it says 401 unauthorized. So because I have changed the client secret, so it says 401 unauthorized. So yeah, so this is how you can see the build history. So the very first build got succeeded and the second build got failed because of 401 issue, and you could see the timestamp as well here. And based upon this console output only, you can understand what is the issue. That was the reason behind this build failure. Okay. Yeah. Now let's see one more, the final item of this session, that is how to create a pipeline. So let me name it as what I will do. Before that, right, let me go back to dev environment and let me delete the application. Delete the application. So I have deleted the application in dev environment. Now let me so sample mule API deployment using pipeline. So I'll name it as 2 because I have created the similar project right already. So let me create it as new. You have to click on pipeline and click on OK. Now here, right, so what you can do, you can select pipeline script and you can write the script here itself, or what you can do, you can click on pipeline script from SCM. So here you have to choose the SCM, that is Git here. Now again you can copy paste the repository URL and you can pick the credentials. Okay, so let me get the code from dev branch. So now coming to this one, right, script path, that is Jenkins file. Okay, so I'll show that to you in the anypont studio. So this is the Jenkins file which I had already checked in within the remote repository. You could see that in feature branch and in dev branch as well. So Jenkins file, and that is already checked in to the dev branch as well. Jenkins file, same script as of now we have. So you see we have 3 different stages. So let me copy this and explain a bit on the same in Notepad. So you need to have pipeline, and within this you can have a number of stages. So you need to have this, and you could see there are like 3 stages. One is build, the other is test, and the final one is deploy. Now in build it is like ambient clean install. So we are actually building by using this command, and this is where it will do that. It will try to test the applications, or it will try to test the unit tests basically. Okay, and deploy, right, see this name you can have anything, but just to have a meaningful criteria, right, or meaning, it has some meaning, right? Build and test and deploy has some meaning. Okay, so that's why I have kept this naming convention here for the 3 stages. Now steps is something that is where you are performing some action. Okay, so here it is like bat is for batch command. Now we are executing this batch command, and this is like ambient test, and this is the final batch command that is used for the deployment. So I am using the same command that I have shown you here. Okay, same maven command. Okay, so this is a simple script. So what you can do, you can execute this script, and you can because this is a simple script, right, you won't feel the difference, but I mean it all depends upon the requirement here. I mean, so you can have more script based upon your functionality. And okay, so this is already checked in. So what I will do, sorry, I have to go to, yeah. So this script path, right, it is by default Jenkins file, but you can also alter this. But where this particular pipeline will check, it will check within the repository itself. Okay, so here in dev branch, right, I have this Jenkins file, the same file which I have shown you. I have here now. So it will execute this particular pipeline script. Okay, so let me click on save. Now for example, if you have a folder, right, if you have a folder like scripts, within that you have Jenkins file, so what you can do, you can change it to configure, you can change it to scripts/Jenkins file. Okay, so that change you can do. Okay, now go back. So this is the one that we have created just now, and because I have already removed the application in dev environment, so let me try to build now and see what happens. So ideally it will show us the view, stage view, because we had 3 stages, right? So this is the stage 1 in line number 4, stage 2 and stage 3. So it will show us all the stages here in this graphical view. So build, test and deploy, and let me show you in the console as well. Click on console output. Yeah, so it is deploying. Yeah, it is deploying. Let's go back. See, because it's a deploy stage, it is taking some time. So build, test, they got finished in 6 seconds itself, or 5 seconds, and this is taking time. Now let's see if the application is getting created in dev environment. See, it is getting deployed. So click on logs. Yeah, it's getting deployed. So see, actually what we are doing in this session, we are actually creating see, if you see here, right, I have only chosen dev branch. Okay, now in real time, right, basically let's say if you deploy to dev environment, it should automatically pick up, right, it should automatically run this pipeline and it should get deployed into dev environment, but that is not happening here, right? And also if I this thing also we can pass dynamically. Okay, so yeah, if you see somewhere, use a dynamic git branch name in a Jenkins job. So you need to understand that this thing also we can pass dynamically, or what you can do, you can delete this. Okay, and it will refer all the branches that are there in the repository. Okay, but now let me go back, leave it. Yeah, so if you see here, right, we are actually picking the branches manually, like we are configuring dev, we are configuring test environment. So this is not the right way, or this is not the way that you do in the real time. So either your script should be able to handle like it should execute this particular batch command dynamically based upon the environment, right? So you can have one script, one common script, and you can, based upon the branch that you are pulling the code from, okay, it should run this particular command dynamically. Okay, So that way you can develop this particular script, because these two stages are common, right? Whether you are deploying in test environment or production environment or staging environment, these two steps are common, but this will have different parameters. The client ID will change, the client secret will change based on the environment that you are deploying, right? So you have to develop this particular pipeline script in such manner. So that is one thing. Second thing is that because we are actually manually clicking on build now, right? So it is building now in real time. How it should be, as soon as you push your changes to dev or test branches, it should, this particular job should run. So in order to do that, right, maybe for the time being I'll only discuss on this. So see how to integrate your GitHub repository to your Jenkins project. So we can use something like webhook within GitHub itself. So click on settings, now go to webhooks, click on add webhook. Okay, it is asking the password. Click on confirm. Yeah, so you see here payload URL. So here, right, as shown in this particular blog, you have to enter the URL of your Jenkins, wherever your Jenkins is running, right? See here it is like http colon, it has some domain, but we are running our Jenkins locally. I have tried this to automate this process, but because it is because the Jenkins that I have installed is in local, it is not I mean it is not recognizing it as a URL over the internet. Okay, but if your Jenkins is running over the internet, right, you can configure that URL along with the port number, and then your something you can configure here. Okay, I think this is webhook. So you have to change this content type to application JSON, and let me show that to you here. So you have to fill that URL and you have to change it to application JSON, and here, right, you can let which events would you like to trigger this webhook. So you can choose, by default it will be pushes, and you can choose pull requests. So what happens is that if you click on add webhook, right, as soon as you check in the code to different branches, it will trigger it will trigger this particular job will be able to get those changes dynamically. So we call that as a webhook. Okay, so even you can configure the SCM, poll SCM, so you can schedule and you can pull it, but this is not the right way, right? You are not sure if you might configure for every 5 minutes or every 10 minutes, something like that, but that's not a right practice, right? So you can configure this particular option, GitHub trigger for, okay, so that way, right, it will automatically understand your changes that you are pushing into different branches. So I tried to create this, but because it's in local, it's not working. So yeah, so if you get a chance, right, you can create this, you can work on webhooks, and you can as soon as you push the changes to your different branches, it will automatically listen, and that way these where is that? Yeah, these jobs will run, or these pipelines will run automatically. So I think that's it from my side. You can search over the internet for different in order to develop this particular code, right, or script, pipeline script, based on your requirement. Okay, so you can search within the internet itself. You'll get a lot of articles and a lot of sources you can find. Okay, so I think that's it from my side. And before we finish, yeah, so this is done through pipeline. So let me show that to you. Everything is done. Go to this one and click on console output. So finally you'll see build success, and because I have deployed in dev environment, right, so it got deployed at 7 minutes before. So let me make a request to this and it should give a result. Okay, so I think that's it from my side for this session. I hope this is useful. I'm little quick in this session, but because I had to cover a lot. So yeah, so thank you so much. Have a nice time.